Okay, it is officially time for me to do the my thoughts on The Last of Us. This isn't really going to be a long my thoughts, to be truthful. I'm just gonna give it a rating right out. I would probably give it like a good 8 out of 10. The gameplay was good. The controls became like fluent after you started to like really figure them out. The only thing I didn't like is that you couldn't hit fire or anything. You had to be aiming down sights because if you tried to hit fire, you would reload. Um, but as I kind of mentioned on this in the last episode of in the credits, it was really good. You got to follow Joel and Tess technically, and Ellie. I couldn't think of her name for a second there. And you got to develop them as characters, and Tess kind of died, and then they met Sam and his brother, and they died, and then they just went through this big adventure that was full of both action from fighting, clickers and the bloaters, which you end up fighting a lot of. Um, just regular zombies. And then, you have like the soldiers, you fought the fireflies at the end and all those things. But as I was saying before, like you see these people and you see like the development of their characters. You see how they go along. Like when Ellie really liked the drafts, you see something like that and you're just like, oh. And you just get to see like everyone grow up and learn the backstory about Tommy and Joel falling out, and how he had like a mini relationship with Tess, sort of, and all these other organizations that kind of just perished, and then the groups that managed to like live through it, like all the different like biker groups, and the group that I think David had, the creepy dude in the Winter Village. Yeah, but there were just like a lot of progress, and then there was the parts where you got to be Ellie on her own, Joel on his own. Both people like really you got to see how they wanted to survive, how they needed to find their own will to survive, how Joel did like anything to survive when it was with Tommy, and how it was like horrible apparently. Um, but then like at the very end, how he became so attached to her that he couldn't really let her see her go and die. Um, which I saw from like both aspects, is you don't want to have like the person that you love and that you care for die. But then I also saw from Marlene's aspect, Marlene, saying, "Oh, it means more for me because I promised her mother I would watch after her and so on and so forth." So I'm gonna be like, "Well, you did not keep your deal, the promise." And like I do understand, this could be a potential cure and all, and that is something pretty major. It is not something that should be treated lightly, but at the same time, because like the cure itself wouldn't entirely like change everything. Yes, it would definitely help because no one would be getting infected, but the world would be still pretty separated and not really cooperating with one another. Just because there was a cure, yeah, doesn't mean like that everything would just go back to the way it was. You can't ignore this type of catastrophe. Um, Yeah, but as I was saying, like the gameplay was good. It did have a good amount of like scavenging, which I was a scavenger, so I love, mixed with adventure and then just time to relax and to talk. The cutscenes were all really good. The like the emotions and everything that everyone had were really good. I would say that it is a great game, but I definitely wouldn't say it was like one of my favorite. I am much more of a fast-paced action type of person, like playing like Doom and things like that. But it definitely had a great story. The gameplay was great. The weapons are great. Upgrading and everything was great. The only thing I really didn't like, which I kind of bugs me when games do, is like how you can't max yourself out. Now, I did a whole lot of exploring, so I don't think I missed that much. I definitely missed things here and there, but I don't think I missed that much. But yet in the game, I didn't max all the weapons. I didn't max all my stats with like the pills and the gears. And I kind of understand like why you want people to have like a heavy choice when they do these things. But at the same time, I hate it when there isn't a possibility of maxing anything out. Like when you're like, oh, we put all this in the game, but you know you're only actually gonna be able to upgrade like 5 or 6 of them, not all 10. I'm like, but I want to upgrade all 10. Why would you put all 10 if I can't get all 10 to max? And it's just one of the personal things I have like a problem with. And I'm like, where I just don't like when games do that. I wish you could always get to the maxed out version of whatever you want to be. But as I said, like a lot of games do this where, you know, you need to pick your kind of favorite thing, find a favorite play style when it comes to weapons, how you're going to do things, and then, you know, upgrade that, and then upgrade other things based off of, like, your popularity. But at the same time, still, I wish I could have upgraded everything. All I really ended up doing was just Shiv Master and health. Which I guess, you know, that was my own decision, but at the same time, like, and they were the most expensive too, I get it, but still, I think that might have just been, like, a little bit much to, like, that's all I could do for the entire stinking game. Well, then, like, one other random upgrade, but still. I really don't have any direct changes that I would make on the story, because really I'm not a big storyteller kind of person myself. Usually even when I'm trying to just tell a story in real life, I'm like failing epically on it, trying to explain and then just screwing it up horribly. So that is one thing that I personally need to like work on. Whenever it comes like any of my games, I do have a few story mode only games that like I've thought of, but most of them reflect, I think of gameplay more than anything else. I just think of some aspects in the story, and then I'm just like, hey, I don't know where to go from the story from here. So, I don't have any problems with the gameplay, and because of that, I don't have anything more to say, which is why I did say this was going to be a bit of a shorter video, or a shorter my thoughts, because, like, yeah, I would like to say, like, how you could have made the story better, but at the same time, I personally really don't know. As I said, like, I personally do believe that they did a great job as is, and that, like, they didn't do anything that I just would see way too far-fetched, or was just, like, completely ridiculous or anything like that. And overall, I did think that it was just a good game, which is why I did give it that, 8 out of 10. Yeah. So, I guess the only bad thing about it I did find was the fact that I didn't have the opportunity of upgrading everything to max. As I said before, like, it does anger me when I do that, and same with, like, the weapons and everything. I enjoyed the weapon choice that they made too, the flamethrower, the other things that you were capable of building, the bombs, though, that was great. Yeah. So that has been my thoughts on The Last of Us. So, sorry if it didn't really go into as much detail and everything as other my thoughts have in the past. But, as I said, like, this is a majority story game, and I really am not a big story person myself. So I can't critique it all that much. But overall, the game was great. It was on people's, like, #1 best games when it came out for a reason. I did play it back then, but at the same time, I was like, it's an okay game. It definitely deserves to be in, like, the top 10, but still. Okay. So, yes, I am going to thank you all very much for watching this My Thoughts. If you agree, disagree, or anything like that, please leave a comment down below. If you have any other games for me to play in a Let's Play, if I'm currently doing a Let's Play, obviously I won't be able to do it until after it's done. But please go put down like a recommendation if I see, as long as it's like in my capabilities. And I will go out and buy some games depending on it, but if it doesn't have like a story mode or if it's just something really stupid, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to play it or buy it. Based off of, like, my own opinion. And I'm not quite sure what the next Let's Play is going to be, but yeah. So, yeah. So, thank you all very much for watching this, My Thoughts, and I'm going to bid you all adieu. Goodbye.